Hi, I'm Nikita Opreti, and today I have with me the founder of Shopper.in. I have Kritika Nelson with me, and for those who are wondering what Shopper is all about, well, it's an online store for handcrafted designer stuff. So good to be here with you, Kritika.
Good to be here with you too, Nikita.
So, can we get started with you giving us a quick brief about your startup and as to how you got started with it?
Okay, so about a year and a half back, I wouldn't have imagined I would be sitting here doing something like this. I had about 5.5 years of media behind me with television and radio, and I just wanted to take a quick break. And I started this very small designer studio for wedding cards. So I used to do these very quirky stuff like a teacup with a tea bag shaped card and stuff like that. And it came to a point where 3 months, a lot of clients, but most of them were second and third level friends, right? Wanted to take the business to the next level and you had no idea how to do it. So I had considered eBay and a few other players, but then for my business, which was very small, this became very expensive because there were lots of fees involved. So
Mm-hmm.
there was one day when I was on an auto ride with my co-founder Tyagarajan, and I was literally cribbing to him saying nothing was going right, etc. And while on that auto drive, where was when we decided maybe this was a bigger problem that we should look at. Maybe start something for all the other designers who are more serious about what they were doing. Give them a platform to showcase their products and take it to the next level. And that's where the seed of Shopper was born.
Okay, so how did like now you said that you are a team of 15 and you started with two. So how
Yeah.
did you how long you've been operational now?
So this whole thing started around October 2010.
Okay.
So the idea came in around then. So we started. After that, we had a lot of research that went behind it, and Tagi, that's what we call Tyagarajan. He quit his job. He was also in a startup, so it took some time to quit his job. So we did a lot of research, went and talked to a lot of sellers. I was a graphic designer who had absolutely zero clue about web designing. So after about 6, 7 iterations, I came to some design which I was like okay with. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of back and forth. It took us a little bit of time for us to get it up and running. All we had to show to the designers we were talking to was a mock-up and a lot of promises. So we started with 20 designers in June 2011, and now we have about 200 plus designers in
Designers are the sellers, right? I mean
yeah,
sellers on your website.
designers, artisans, artists, and all that. So yeah, now we have 200 plus of them, and very happy to have this marketplace and community of brilliant designers and artists.
Right. So see, like you mentioned, there are two sides of this coin. One is getting the sellers, the designers on board and building that network, and then the other is getting customers to use this portal. So we will talk about each of them, and coming to the seller network, how are you getting these people on board, and how are you building this network? Now you have about more than
Like you
200.
rightly said, when we started off, we were just two people doing everything. But now we have a brilliant team of 15, and a good chunk of that is our curator team. In fact, my first curator hire was one of my biggest shoppers, right? So she used to pop in on my Facebook page every now and then and say, hey, you should try and bring this brand in, that brand in. So I called her one day and said, why don't you do that for me? So that's how my first two curators came in, and I guess that was a good risk to take because they have brought in all the brilliant designers we have on board right now. So it comes twofold, right? There are lots of people who send us mails saying they would also want to be a part of Shoppo. And we also have a set of curators who go behind brands that we want to have on Shoppo. And almost every single shop here is handpicked. There's a lot of research that goes behind bringing in every seller. That's why we're growing small, I would say. We could have happily hit 1,000, 2,000 sellers by now, but we decided to take it slow and concentrate on the quality of each one of them. So this curator team does that.
All right. And how about getting your first paying customer? Was this the same person you just mentioned that, that curator was your first paying customer or? someone
No,
else?
actually, the first paying customer was a friend, and I should say, she has been very lucky for us. This was we did not ask her to buy it. We had just told everyone that we had launched the beta and stuff. So she was one of our testers, right? So when we did the design and we put it out to a few people, asked them if it was easy to use, blah, blah. And this was one of them. And right from that time, she's been saying, hey, please say when you're ready to take an order, I want to buy this particular bag. And so the day we launched, the next day she came and bought that bag. So after that, the second order was from a total stranger. And from there on, just started trickling in. So yeah.
Great. So how are you getting these customers? Because I presume that your target audience is similar to the offline stores like Mother Earth and Fab India, etc. And I also see that you are not competing against the price and quality. So how are you making up for the touch and feel for the for the product?
One thing that I have noticed over here, Nikita, is so far we've had a lot of e-commerce sites that were pertaining to men, right? So we had a lot of sites that offered gadgets, and an iPhone is an iPhone wherever you buy it from, right? We didn't have many options for women, but that started coming up in the last 1 or 2 years. The way women shop is very different from the way men buy. There's a lot of impulse shopping that happens,
Right.
and they just trust, and when they see a product and they just need to have it, they just go ahead and buy it.
Is it that ways, or do you feel women are more finicky about trying it out, testing, seeing the material, and then deciding what's the price and comparing and then
changing. I would say it is changing. Especially with Shoppo, almost 90% of our products are limited edition, right? So there's hardly 1 or 2 of those ever made. So especially when they see that there's only 1 of those available, they just go ahead and buy it. There are lots of times when I have been totally surprised when people came and bought saris worth 10,000 without touching and feeling. I would never do it personally, but yeah, there are people who are ready to take that risk.
So hence the question, because I would personally like to see something and then buy, because these kind of things are priced at at a premium price. I mean, so you will want to see, is it really adding value, or maybe either you'll become an impulse shopper that you'll just go pick it up, or you will spend a lot of time. So okay, so what are the key metrics that you're tracking for your business growth?
Obviously we are checking which seller is doing really well, as in which kind of products or which kind of categories are doing really well. We are also looking very closely at what are the combinations that people buy. We have noticed very clearly that right from the beginning, in fact, there was a couple of months when we decided, okay, we are probably ignoring the men, let's try and bring products for men too. And let me tell you, no, it did not work. Okay, so we clearly understood that our key demographic or our primary audience were women.
Okay.
So we started concentrating there. So we are also obviously tracking which cities they buy from. Sales is one thing that we are noticing, which categories, all that, yes, the usuals.
And are you also planning to go offline?
Not any soon. I think offline model works really well for us, and we would prefer to keep it this way for some time.
So you are coming in a very crowded market where you have a lot of stores, with deep pockets, and as these items are highly marked up. So what is going to be a secret sauce here?
One thing that we have always been very strict about, unlike the other marketplaces who are competing with us, is that we are a creator-only community, right? So we do not allow resellers. We prefer to take the people who actually created it right from the beginning with their sweat and blood. And number 2, there are 2 ways to look at this, right? How we are getting our sellers in and how we getting our buyers in. So if we talk about the sellers, we have always been very personalized, as in every seller has their own curator that they can talk to. We are available even at 12 in midnight if they need something immediately changed on their site. So we basically handhold them. Sometimes we arrange for photographers and pay for the photographers if they are not able to afford that. So basically we are a very close and personal, we have a very close and personal connection with every single seller that we get on board. and we make sure that we keep them comfortable. In fact, we have a logistic partnership with with multiple players, and make sure that the parcel is actually picked up from the seller's place and dropped to the buyer's place. There's no hassles over here. Also, the pay or what they give to us is only when they make a sale. It's only a transaction fee that they pay to us, and there's nothing else. There is no listing fee. There is no hidden charges. Nothing. In fact, there are lots of times when we cover up for mistakes they do as well. So it's the community that, or the way we treat them is what has kept them here. There are lots of times when our sellers have called and told us that they are more comfortable working with us than the other marketplaces. That's what keeps us going. So that's in the seller side. In the buyer side, again, if you might have noticed, we have concentrated more on our social marketing or our community marketing than paid marketing. It's more of, in fact, I would say almost 60% of my buyers are repeat buyers. So once they buy from Shoppo, they have always come back and bought again. Even if they have had some problem during this, we have made sure that we have finished it in a nice way that they actually do come back and buy again from us.
So you mentioned that customer service is one of your key differentiators. So what kind of training, internal training, did your team go through, and could you talk a bit about that?
Okay, so that's where Tyagarajan and I took a risk, right? So when people joined us, we gave them complete ownership, told them work as if this was your own company. You are as much a core team as Taggy and I are. In fact, we work in a very casual atmosphere. There's one big table and just all of us sit around and break our heads together. So that's how it works. And of course, there was training. There was a do's and don'ts that we gave them. But we have seen this working a lot better when they have ownership, when they know that they are the owner to complete this problem to the finish. They do it even better. So that's how this team works.
Okay, so Kritika, now almost coming to the end of this interview, I want to understand what have been your challenges, in the journey so far, and any additional challenges you had to face being a woman entrepreneur.
To confess, no, it has not been difficult at all. For that matter, the community these days are actually give you more privileges. They pamper you a lot more when you are a woman entrepreneur. I've seen a lot of women entrepreneur awards happening. There are lots of things that people are doing to encourage more women entrepreneurs. So I will not say it is hard, but I would say there are some times when you feel, why are we treated differently because we are women? Why is there no man entrepreneur awards? Why are there only women entrepreneur awards? Why can't you accept us as entrepreneurs and not as women entrepreneurs, right? So that has been there, but I wouldn't say I had any special problems because I was a women entrepreneur, not at all. And I was always backed by the perfect co-founder, as in we both are literally two pieces of the puzzle. I have absolutely zero idea about technology and he fills that completely. And I take care of the marketing and designing and communication. So basically, we just had the perfect two skills that a hustler and a hacker needed. So we just made the perfect, we were just two pieces of the puzzle, I would say. The hardships as an entrepreneur, yes, I guess there are three things that happen. Number one, you don't get your family or your friends anymore. It just becomes a totally different world. They see, to your family, you cannot be so busy that you don't give time to them. They do not understand that we are actually that busy. Thankfully, I have a husband who understands, but the rest, it is very difficult to convince them when we do not attend marriages or functions, which they feel is number one priority, right? So that's number one. Number two, as entrepreneurs, we literally bootstrapped for almost a year, which means zero cash inflow and maximum cash outflow, right? So that, I guess, is a problem that every single entrepreneur goes through. And to come to a point where you have your business up and running and doing somewhat well, kind of, it's all worth it, right? So that's the second one. Number three, I guess before you become an entrepreneur, you are a different person. You have so many other things that you pursue as interests, so many things you do on the side, and suddenly it all stops, right? I think there has been a stretch of 5 full months when I have just not cooked at home, right? So there are things like this that you go through. I have been singing and doing some voice before this, which I haven't had the chance to do at all after I started Shoppo. But I guess when you see what I had mentioned in a previous post also, starting up is not about doing something that you like. It's about giving up everything that you like to do that one burning passion, right? So I guess it's all worth it at the end of the day when it all works out.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you do miss a few things here and there. So that's probably in the personal level has been hard for me. But I would say every single challenge has been a learning experience. I have learned much more in this 1.5 years than I have in 6, 7 years of my career. So I would say every challenge had its learnings and it was all worth it. So I wouldn't say it was a hardship as much as it was a challenge.
Brilliantly put. I'm pretty sure most of the viewers out there would be, able to relate to what you just said. On that note, thank you so much for talking to us. It was a pleasure talking to you, Kritika.
Pleasure to hear too, Nikita.
And for all the viewers out there, hope this helps. Do let us know your feedback on this talk. And for more interviews with founders, stay tuned to Plugged In TV. Thank you.